Most people don't realize how much their personal information is being bought and sold every day. Data brokers are making billions, pulling details about you from public records and the internet, and then packaging and selling it, usually without your consent. That's how your information lands in the hands of scammers, spammers, even stalkers. It's why you get endless robocalls and why ads seem to follow you everywhere. That's where Aura comes in. Aura actively removes your data from broker sites and keeps it off. They also instantly alert you if your information shows up in a breach or on the dark web. But Aura goes beyond data protection. With one app, you get a VPN, antivirus, password manager, spam call protection, dark web monitoring, and even up to $5 million in identity theft insurance. All backed by 24/7 US-based fraud support. Other companies might sell just credit monitoring or just a VPN. Aura gives you all of it, together, at the same price competitors charge for just one service. Start your free trial today at aura.com/remove. Protect yourself now at aura.com/remove.
Pilotwings, that game you 100% forgot existed. Welcome to the strangest flight school ever. Not in a wacky, crazy sense, just in a what's going on here sense. Like the Tiger King Zoo of pilot schools. Hey, here's a jetpack. Go fly around through some smoke rings. But don't go too long, because then you run out of fuel and fall from the sky and die. Also, we want you to learn how to skydive, but the landing has to be on a moving platform with a moat surrounding it. I don't see crocodiles in that moat, but I think they're kind of implied. And then there's the hang glider, which apparently exists next to the path of a 747 Jumbo, so the wake will randomly send you careening into another continent. And of course, there's the random helicopter that shoots rockets for no apparent reason, other than to probably appease some executive who demanded the game have something cool in it. In effect, Pilotwings might be the Captain Ron of flight schools. But at the same time, it's super calming and nice. It has no real purpose, and there's no consequences. Go fly around in a circle. Try to land. Skydive through the smoke rings onto a glowing platform. If you do a good job, a 2D character gives you a high grade. If you do a bad job, they give you a low grade and tell you to try harder. Seriously, I've never played a game where stakes are this low. Pilotwings, the game we all played for 5 or so hours in the early 90s and never picked it up again. Everyone going, well, that was fun. What else can we play?
Retro Recall.
Welcome back to Retro Recall, the show with more nostalgia than the number of penguins who died while aiming at that 60-point pool.
Aww.
And that's a Pilotwings thing. If you haven't played the bonus rounds, you're not going to know what's going on with that. Yeah. But let's just say there's a bunch of really sad penguins out there.
All right. So I guess we know where we're going today. We are doing a nice trip to just a unique, simple skill game where Nintendo was just trying to show off what a Super Nintendo could do. Pilotwings, a game I forgot about, a game all of you forgot about. Really until just now. And then you go, oh yeah, that game was fun. Pilotwings.
Yeah, that's a thing. It's a thing. But also to fit in our whole nostalgia thing, like, man, when I turned this game on and I heard that music and the sound effects for the first time, holy crap. I was like, this, we're going to get into it, but there's the origins of like the Wii Shop in the soundtrack. It feels like an early version of the stuff that they've done in menu screens for like 3 decades after that. It's weird. It's weird.
To me, this was more like having a Slurpee where it's like, I haven't had one in 20 something years and you have it like, oh, wow, that all the memories come back. So
that hit me. And then I was like, but why does this feel weirdly familiar? And I was like, because there are echoes of this in all the other things, in the menus of Mario Kart and in the Wii Shop. Like this isn't just, hey, look at us, we can rotate the screen and do stuff. This was an attempt at something very different by them, but we'll get into it.
All right. But some of the release real quick. It's going to be a really quick one, guys, because this was a launch title with Super Nintendo. So August 23rd, 1991, this came out with the Super Nintendo. F-Zero, Super Mario World, they all came at the same time. Again, the top song, and I still haven't listened to this, and I'm proud of myself, is Everything I Do for You, Bryan Adams. I refuse to go listen to this, but it's our third foray into this, and so I could do the John music, I could do this. Instead, I decided 1991. What were the one-hit wonders of 1991? And I did this, and I want you all to know that every one of these songs instantly burned into my brain. Just by writing them out. The first one, Unbelievable, which is not how it's pronounced in the song, by EMF.
How did they pronounce it in the song?
Nope. Nope. 'Cause I need to go to bed tonight, and otherwise that's all I'll hear and repeat in my brain while lying in the darkness. Yep. It's already
in. I'm holding back the temptation to yell the name of the song because that's basically what happens in the song.
Then we have Walking in Memphis. Equally terrible. I'm Too Sexy by Right Said Fred, which is more sad that was a one-hit wonder because I feel like he deserved 2 hits.
That feels like it was silly on purpose. And
I feel like he deserved the second hit. Set Adrift on Memory Bills by PM Dawn. Don't know. Don't care.
Bills? Was it Bills? I thought it was Bliss.
I don't care. Maybe Bliss. Maybe it's Bliss. I may have typed it out wrong.
I don't even know.
I don't care.
Yeah.
And then another magnificent song that probably may actually have more than one hit. It just wasn't in English. Rico Suave by Gerardo.
This is a song that until you just said that I had forgotten existed, and now I'm going to have to look it up because I bet the music video is terrible.
You don't know. I know the music video for this one.
I forgot.
Rico Suave. Let me let you in a secret. Acid wash jeans come up.
Yes.
A lot.
Yes. Yeah. 91.
A lot.
91. Yep.
Yeah. Also, there's a song called "And More Than Words" by a band called Extreme. Don't care.
Extreme.
But Rico Suave. Wow. I mean, just it's really unbelievable. That song burns in your head. But I'm Too Sexy and Rico Suave, magnificent songs. So
yes. Yeah.
I've covered the box office again before. So this time I decided to just kind of jump on a couple that I think are funny at this time. So the first one was a superhero movie that we skipped last time because it actually did come out. We didn't talk about it because it released and then Terminator 2 came out and just blew it out of the box office. But The Rocketeer, which is an incredibly stupid film when you think about it, because it's a superhero movie based on many superhero movies where what if everyone that we're fighting is a bad shot? Because the entire concept is I can do a bunch of things, but none of the concepts are I'm bulletproof.
Right. In fact, in the movie, if I recall, the gas tank on his rocket thing gets hit, and then the gas leaks out at some point.
He has to put chewing gum on it, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yes.
The memories are coming back to me.
We're going to bring this movie to back. It's not very good.
Maybe that's the podcast we should do, is where we write a movie just from memory.
That we've already seen.
That we haven't seen in 30 years to see how close we get to it and how ridiculous the plot becomes when we write it. That would be awesome. But that was Disney. Wasn't that Disney?
It's a Disney film, yeah. It was a Disney film, The Rocketeer. It was based on a comic book, I think, or a comic book was based on it.
It was like a 1940s World War II kind of thing.
Yeah. One of the many anti-Nazi comic books. Right. The movie's got a weird plot in the end, but it's cool. But you know what's more fun? You know, it comes out a month after Super Nintendo.
What?
Oh, an amazing movie. Cool as Ice.
Oh, wait. So we're talking, man, this is going back to bad music. This is Vanilla Ice's movie, right? This
is the movie they made so Vanilla Ice could star in a film. Boy. And here are 2 facts in that movie I find fascinating. First off, it did $600,000 in the box office, which is $599,000 more than I thought it would have. Number one. Number 2, it had a budget of $6 million.
Which is a very normal movie budget, by the way. It's just also not normal for a $6 million budget film to only make back 10.
No. I can't. I understand that things like cocaine exist. And I understand that in the 90s they existed. Those 2 things are just facts. I've seen them show Miami Vice. I accept those things.
Right.
Now, how did someone greenlight a $6 million budget for a movie starring Vanilla Ice, in which the cover of it, and I'm doing this from memory, I believe is Vanilla Ice in a puffy jacket next to a T-top convertible?
That sounds about right. Yes.
It might even be it might be an IROC if I'm not, anyway.
He had a big hit song, and he probably had an even better like management company that was able to land the deal for him or something like that. What percentage of that $6 million do you think he got specifically?
Probably a lot of it. And for
it was
those
probably
who don't
like
know,
5 million of it. Yeah.
The phrase "ditch the zero and get with the hero" comes from this movie.
Oh boy. Oh.
Have I seen it? Luckily, no. Have I seen bits of it? Unfortunately, yes. I
have not seen it. I think this is one of those lessons of leave the world better after you've been somewhere.
Yeah.
Anyway. I don't think this movie might have done that. All right. Well, anything else?
You know what else came out since we're covering a flying thing? I want to cover one more flying thing. Hot Shots, which is light years better than Top Gun. Mostly because I understand the plot of Hot Shots. I, to this day, have no idea what the plot of Top Gun was. More than what the purpose of Top Gun was. Hot Shots, I understood.
I think it's all about the volleyball scene.
That's kind of what I figure. Anyway.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
But let's get on to a weird flight school that was oddly fun. So.
Yes.
Super Nintendo is coming out. And Nintendo needs a launch package. And so what they decide to do is they're going to, we have to have games that are going to show us off. And they make Super Mario, obviously, is going to release with a system. But that's not enough. We have to have other stuff that's going to come out around the same time that people will buy. Because all you have to do is make a system and people will buy stuff to play on the system. We've seen that forever. F-Zero we covered before, but they had to make something else. And their biggest thing that Nintendo wanted to show off was this new 3D render called Mode 7. And F-Zero showed it kind of going forward, for lack of a better phrase.
Yeah, like as if you were looking at the behind of a vehicle driving down a track, right?
But they knew they could do something else. They were like, hey, we also can do top down. And they were like, well, let's do a flying game. This is flight simulators were actually extremely popular. We should also mention in the 80s and into the early 90s, but largely on PC. This was something that we'd seen a lot of. And they were going to say, we can do it on console. And I give them credit. They did. This game's got a very good review ratio, 70 to 80%. And everyone's viewpoint on it is it's enjoyable enough. And we'll explain more about what that means in a minute. But it's kind of cool. It's a good game. It is. It mostly, though, because they showed off something that had never been able to be done in a console before.
Right. This is a trend that they do. They have this pattern where they release a new system. The new system has some form of new tech in it, whether it's this whole being able to rotate the screen thing, or it's a new controller or something like that. And then oftentimes one of the launch titles will focus in really heavily on one of the new things, like the 3DS in the 3DS moving from just a DS to now 3D. They release a game where they're like, okay, this is what our studio can do with it. And then they sell that game, which of course makes them some money, but it sets a kind of a standard for the other developers on the system so that they go, oh, well, you can do that with it. Then that gives us ideas. We can do this, this, and this. And it's a smart way to do it because it's also new and enjoyable for the audience because we've never experienced that technology before. And we get to see what it's like. Like the Wii controllers were the same thing. Like here's Wii Sports. This is the stuff you can do with the controller. And then everybody else does other stuff, So it makes sense. It also just kind of feels like a tech demo, but we'll get into that.
There are some light years funny stories about companies' ideas on Wii controllers, on alternative Wii controllers who failed miserably. But another story, another day. But let's get to the game itself. So I haven't played this game since 1991 or 1992.
Yeah, me either.
I thought it was cool back then. I didn't own a Super Nintendo, though. So I played this at a friend's house and we played it a few times and then it got put away and I haven't touched it since then.
Yeah, I think we both have the same story and I'm pretty sure most of the people in our audience have that same story. Like I don't remember if I played it at a friend's house. I didn't own it. Maybe I rented it. I definitely played it with other kids, and we definitely spent some time going, oh, well, look at all the stuff you can do with this vehicle or whatever, just trying to like push the boundaries of it, or try and get somebody to like move on the landing platform, and whoever did that won or whatever. We came up with our own games, but that was about it. After playing it for a few days, it was like, okay, I think we saw it all.
This game was not a like, oh, wow, it's amazing, but it was enjoyable. And that's kind of what I think we should talk about. Like, it's a good game. Let's talk about why. And
right. Okay.
First and foremost,
take me on your list. What's your list of good stuff?
It's relaxing. Candidly, it's a relaxing game. We've been playing a lot of high pressure, stressful games, some of them just pointlessly so. This game does require some attention and some focus, but it's anticlimactic when you screw something up. It's just relaxing.
If anything, you get disappointment from the trainer.
Yeah.
Like, you get some judgment. There's one where I took it too slow and my score was too slow. And the critique from the trainer was, well, you probably shouldn't rush it next time. And I was like, well, that's really funny.
I like it. Passive aggressive. There we go. There we go. I like this. But yeah, I mean, it was just a relaxing game. You have nice music. You're outside in the early levels. You're outside with the sun shining. I mean,
yeah. In fact, the day goes by as you play through the different levels. Yeah.
It's just a chill game. Like I actually, fun story. I played this game in the morning. I was practicing. I had some early morning, and I drink my coffee in the morning before actually anyone in my house gets up. So it's very quiet. It just felt nice. I was having my morning coffee, playing Pilotwings.
Yeah, it's a little meditative. Yeah, and I think part of it is the delivery. The music is, again, very recognizable as soon as it comes up. And I'm like, oh, that's the music. But it's also very just kind of chill. It's kind of like, okay, here we go. We're doing a thing. And even the text kind of comes on the screen kind of slowly, and a little talking head is there. And then you go on you get in your little plane. Yeah.
You know what it feels like? And this is funny because you are from Florida and I'm not. It feels Key West. And I say that as someone who's never been to Key West.
Okay.
And that's what I mean by it feels like that's what they're
like
going
chill,
for.
Like laid back, like vacation.
But that Florida style of, Margaritaville, like the kind of like it's almost forced.
Yeah, I have an uncle, like a in-law uncle, who's very much a parrot head, and his whole vibe is still kind of that thing. He worked in the Coast Guard too, so he probably could pilot some of these things. But it feels like they'll go down to Key West. That's what they'll head down there on trip. And I feel like if you were just like, wanted to go on a little vacation that's not too far, but still feels removed. It's got that like, we're just going to relax for the weekend vibe.
That's what Pilotwings feels like to me.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, another thing I like about it is the controls feel nice. It's, I'm doing this with hindsight in this one, but I can remember playing games on joysticks, literal joysticks. And this one coming in, having the actual, playing on Nintendo was impossible. 2 buttons and the actual directional pad was impossible. But I actually was playing this on a SNES pad. It felt good. It actually, you could bank, you could pitch. You had just enough control to actually do it right. It was good.
Yeah.
And then even the vehicles themselves were nice. The biplane's kind of fun. The hang glider is whatever.
It's tricky. It's probably the trickiest one.
It's meant to be the trickiest one. The helicopter. Yeah. The helicopter's weird. The helicopter does, I'll be honest.
Cool.
It's cool.
I was surprised because I didn't remember the helicopter. I remembered some of the other ones. Yeah. Like the little jetpack is very memorable. The biplane, like that stuff. But then the helicopter, I was like, oh yeah, I remember. And then it reminded me of other games. It feels very much like you could have designed just a helicopter game with more stuff. Yeah, where you're flying around and blowing stuff up. That would have been an NES title. I feel
like the helicopter was one of those ones where someone was like, hey guys, this game's a little bit too lame. Can you just put in rockets? Like blow something up, please. And someone's like, all right, I'll put in a helicopter of rockets. Good. Just put it in there.
But it was a good idea because 12-year-old me was like, holy crap, there's a helicopter in this. Cool.
Yeah, it's super fun. It's super fun. I'm a big fan. Yeah, but the rocket pack is actually my favorite. Although for 2 reasons. 1, it is fun. And 2, it just feels so 1991. This idea that, we're going to have flying cars and jetpacks. And we don't. but we have cell phones and the internet, and that's so much better. Just objectively, it's so much better than like.
Can you imagine?
Like of the two options, and I mean this, think about it. Of the two things you could have, do you want to be able to get to work faster because you have a jetpack, but at work you don't have the internet or a cell phone? Or do you just want to have to sit in traffic, but you have the internet and a cell phone?
Yeah. Yeah. I remember being like, I don't know, in kindergarten or something. And somebody brought a magazine article for like a show and tell or something that talked about how in the next 10 years, we're going to have flying cars. Yeah. And I remember being like, as a kid, being like, that's really cool. And it stuck in my brain. And 10 years later, I remember noticing the date and going, where are the flying cars?
Yeah.
That was a thing. That was definitely an 80s, 90s thing, but it never happened. And it's probably good, too, because can you imagine the number of traffic deaths? They would absolutely skyrocket.
The NTSB would have a lot to say about that. I mean, no. Both of us have driven on I-95.
Yeah, it's not
different chunks of it. Different chunks. But it's the same I-95.
Although, yeah. No, when I was touring the band, I've driven on a lot of different roads.
I've done weird thing that I've done every inch of I-95 and I-5 because I've lived on both coasts and done all of them, and I can tell you, same drivers, top to bottom,
not that different.
Doesn't very much. But anyway, that was a fun little side note. Tom, what I missed? What else did you like about the game?
I think you're right about the music, the UI, all of that stuff. It does feel it has a lot in common with Star Fox in the way that it's like, hey, look at this tech. It does really cool stuff. Mm-hmm. And that part's cool. The first time you try it, you're like, oh, that's really cool. In fact, the physics of it, did you notice how you would drift and move and like...
Yeah, they were trying to have wind really matter, especially when you jump out of the airplane or it's the helicopter. You don't jump out of an airplane, the helicopter. Yeah.
Right. Or you're flying with a jetpack and it's your movement continues in a direction. You have to kind of counter that in order to go back the other way because physics. I remember feeling like that was something I hadn't really seen in games before. I was like, oh, this game actually has like physics simulations happening. That's really cool. I think that those were some of my favorite things. But I think in the course of it, like we discussed at the beginning of the episode, that stuff is only novel for so long. And then you're like, okay, well, what else is there?
Yeah, and that's the good transition to the bad. The bad of the game, the main thing is there's not much to this game.
It's pretty simple.
This game, you play it a few times and go, oh, okay, cool.
Yep.
And then move on with your day.
I tried a few times. I finally landed on the target that I was trying to land on. I got all the points. Okay, what now? Yeah. And it's like, you just do that again on the next level. It's like, oh, okay.
There's because the game... There's not a lot. It doesn't give you a lot. There's no difficulty settings. There's just the game. And the missions don't change. There's like, all right, all they could do is make it, I don't know, the wind windier. The darkness darkier. Like there's not much work.
You get to the evening, you get to the nighttime, and it's like, now you're landing in the dark. And it's like, okay, cool.
Yeah. I mean, there's no plot. There's no story. There's no
plot.
exploring.
Okay, so there is a plot. The plot is, hey, I want to get my license. That's the plot.
Yeah, get your pilot license.
I'm going to get a pilot license. I'm going to get a slightly better pilot license. All right, now I'm going to get an even better pilot license. And then the credits at the end, they're all like standing there in line, like you've achieved some sort of heroic thing.
It does feel a little Japanese in that regard, where you're like, you know, like I got my diploma. Okay.
Yeah, congrats.
Neat.
Yeah, but no, they're like, yes, we must all stand here to honor you and your great sacrifice.
Yeah, it's a game that it's good it came out at the beginning of Nintendo because it was a launch title. If it had come out later, I think it would have been buried and been ripped apart. But because it came out early, people, I think to your point, people got to see what it could do. It showed off the capabilities of the system and probably did steer a lot of the later games, which is the positive. But from a bad standpoint, I mean, to our listeners who are like, oh, hey, we want to play some of the games with you. This one you can do in the morning drinking coffee. You're looking, this is one of the lowest commitments we're asking you to do.
Right. And you can be done with it in an hour if you're still pretty good at figuring out how to make the controls, get you exactly where you want to go. It doesn't take that much work to kind of get it. Like, it wasn't long until I was maxing out the points on the levels.
I didn't even care. I'll be honest. I got like,
it wasn't that hard.
I pulled up a walkthrough. I'm like, how many different things are there? I just wanted to fly all the things. And after I'd flown all the things, I was like, I'm good now. So.
Yeah. And I get why they gate some of those. Like the first level, your first license, you're doing the biplane and the parachute one.
This is a weird license, though. On a side note, this is a weird license. So my license requires me to be able to fly a plane, but also jump out of a plane. So they're not,
in case of an emergency.
Yeah, they're not really believing in you very much. And then I have to be able to fly a jetpack, but also jump out of the sky, which again, they don't believe in their own jetpack. Then later, there's a lot of like kind of like
the hang glider,
the hang glider. Yeah. I'm just saying, like this flight school, I have questions. And then also, what's up with the moat with the moving things around? Yes. That's like it's a death trap. They've also got a death trap around. So I'm jumping out of an airplane, which is already. I'm afraid of heights, so skydiving's never happening, but I have friends who are paratroopers, and all of them have completely jacked up knees and backs. So I know it's not good for you. And I'm pretty sure that their life would have been worse if it had a moving platform with a moat.
Oh, yeah. Yes, no, it's very gamified. And then the bonus rounds are like the one I mentioned at the beginning. You're a penguin jumping into a pool, but there are rings of what appear to be concrete around the different holes that you can land in for points. Which means you're going to land on the concrete and that poor penguin. Or it goes to one where you're like a bird and you're flying or like you're bouncing around on stuff. There's some other ones. But yeah, for the most part, that's what it does. And they lock those other levels behind the earlier levels as like, I don't know, trying to get you to keep going to unlock the other stuff. Because if you want to go do the helicopter, you got to get through all the stages before the helicopter. And it makes sense that it builds on it. That part makes sense. It makes sense that they also have the little, heads talking to you to give you some semblance of like, okay, there's people here. It's not just a menu and you're just going into the thing, but it's definitely not Star Fox. It's not like we're getting an overarching story with other characters that are like there with you while you're doing it.
It looked better.
It looked better than Star Fox. That's true. That's true.
Sorry.
That's accurate. Anything else on your list?
No, sorry. I just went up to shit talking. Sorry.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Now, here's some things that I think that could have made it better. The field of view is very limited. And now, of course, this is a 4:3 screen, and it's still a resolution of something like 340 pixels by 200 and something. I don't even remember what it is, but it's very low res. And I totally get why something like the Super Nintendo wouldn't have been able to give you more of like a fisheye view of stuff. So, for example, flying around with the glider and just being aware of where it is on the side of your vision while you're kind of circling the landing get low enough. It's hard to see where you're going until you're going toward a thing. But then if you turn too soon, you're going to go past it. Or if you turn too late, you're going to go too short. So keeping that in view, or at least, I mean, they have the semblance of a mini map with a little dot, but that's about it. Even just a top-down map in the corner would have been helpful. I feel like that could have been better. I absolutely remember feeling like, whoa, this is really cool tech. This is new tech. I've never seen this before. Yeah. But because the resolution's so low, it's still so super chunky, especially because it's a game where you are the majority of the map, the majority of the ground, the majority of the things in the game are basically straight lines, which at a really low resolution means that you end up with these really like bumpy angles. And then very quickly, especially as you're going higher in the sky, those angles turn into just sporadic blocks that blink on and off because the resolution's just too low. And that's kind of this sparkly mess, but it is what it is. It's what it was,
Yeah, you're right. I think in hindsight, it's hard to put myself all the way back in it, but you're right. I remember being at the time, this is amazing. And I did have that when I turned it back on going, oh, no, it's not.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like the visuals are just like, was it really that chunky back in the day? And it was. I mean, we had CRTs, which kind of blended it out a little bit more, but it still was. Like some of this tech feels like the processing power on the Super Nintendo was there, but the TV technology wasn't there yet, or something like that. It feels like it was one of the components, but not all of them. I don't know. That's just part of it. The music is nice until you play the game long enough for the music during the rounds to just keep repeating. Then that part gets real old. And that was a memory. That was something I noticed while playing. But it also was one of those like, oh, yeah, that was a thing I remember, too. Feeling like, oh, my God, it's that same song again. So that's part of it. But I think this is the most interesting part, is that today a title like this would have been a cheaper title. If you put this game out today, I would charge $20 for it.
Yeah.
Based not on let's say it's an analogy. It's a new technology, but really there's only this much gameplay in it. That's a $20 title. And so I was curious and I was like, okay, if we go back in time, how much did they charge for this? Because we have to remember the Super Nintendo during the early 90s pushed the cost of games higher than the other consoles did. And if you look up ads from like Toys R Us from back then, you will be surprised because you will find games listed at $69 or $79.
Oh yeah, games were more back then than now we're getting back to that. They dropped in the late 90s into the early zeros, and now we're getting back to that price point. Yeah. So that much money back then is almost twice as much today. Mm-hmm. So can you imagine spending $130 on a brand new game, something like that? That's crazy. Mm-hmm. But this was a discounted title at $49, which was below the $59 for the normal tier. Mm. And the games that had more tech in the cartridges, as we discussed before, because they would add extra chips in, would come out for $69 or $79 because they cost more to physically make. They had to put actual technology in the things. So this was a discounted game. This was the cheap tier for a Super Nintendo. Oh, well, there we go.
It kind of lines up. Yeah. There you go. But I don't know. There's really not a whole lot else to say because you can just burn through all of this very quickly. And there's not a whole lot of reason to go back once you've done it all, other than to just try to perfect your score, I guess.
Yeah, that's kind of my thing, too. So, okay. Yeah. So conclusion, what do we think? Was it fun and who should go play it? Let you go first. Tom.
Yeah. I think it's still a fun game. I don't think that I don't regret having played it. I'm like, hey, it was kind of cool. Hit the buttons and make the thing do the thing and land on the thing and see what the person says when I do it and how excited they are when I get a good score, how they make fun of me when I crash into the water or whatever. That's fun. But I think if you plan to get more than 30 or 60 minutes out of this, then
that's what I was going to say too. The fact that it's available, if you have a Switch, it's part of, and you have the package, it's just there for free. Go play it. Yeah. 30 minutes of your life. And it's fun nostalgia. That's what it is. You're going to have the same moment Tom and I had of it. It's going to load up, the music's going to play, and you're going to have this like immediate flashback to for almost 40 years ago or 30 years ago.
Right. And I would imagine playing this with small kids might be fun too. Yeah. Especially when they're not old enough to get real picky about which games they're playing. To be like, hey, here you go. Fly. See if you can fly the airplane and land it on the thing. And, chances are they'll crash the first time. But that's what we all did.
Yeah. I think it's a fun game for that. That's where it is. But there you go. Yeah. So there you go.
Really not a whole lot else to say about that. Yeah. There you go. That's Pilotwings. And it was worth going back, though, because I would not have remembered exactly what was in here unless we had loaded this back up.
Oh, yeah. 100%. And it was fun. This is one of the most deja vu is the wrong word, but the most recall was happening as everyone going like, oh yeah, this, oh yeah, this, oh yeah, this.
It's like when you go visit your parents and they have a picture on the wall that you haven't seen in 30 years. And all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, that was my prom photo. Oh, I remember that day now because you just saw a picture of it. Yeah. It's kind of like that.
It's fun.
Yeah. All right. Well, there you go. We're going to take a quick break. We've got some comments to get to, and thank you all for your comments, and don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Most people don't realize how much their personal information is being bought and sold every day. Data brokers are making billions, pulling details about you from public records and the internet, and then packaging and selling it, usually without your consent. That's how your information lands in the hands of scammers, spammers, even stalkers. It's why you get endless robocalls and why ads seem to follow you everywhere. That's where Aura comes in. Aura actively removes your data from broker sites and keeps it off. They also instantly alert you if your information shows up in a breach or on the dark web. But Aura goes beyond data protection. With one app, you get a VPN, antivirus, password manager, spam call protection, dark web monitoring, and even up to $5 million in identity theft insurance, all backed by 24/7 US-based fraud support. Other companies might sell just credit monitoring or just a VPN. Aura gives you all of it, together, at the same price competitors charge for just one service. Start your free trial today at aura.com/remove. Protect yourself now at aura.com/remove.
All right, we are back. And if you've been enjoying the show and you want to help us out, then please share the show with your friends or comments. Send us a comment, jump on our Discord, check out our other shows. John does the 40K Lorecast in the history of 40K. So if you're a big Warhammer fan, lots of cool stuff over there. Mm-hmm. If you like Fallout, Elder Scrolls, and Lord of the Rings, you can check out my Lorecasts about those as well. And we've got our comments, John. We've got some good ones this week. This one is from Brian. This is on the Dragon Warrior episode. Mm-hmm. Curious to see if you guys will get to the Pokemon games at some point, since the first time I actually had a challenge with them after becoming a teenager was doing a Nuzlocke challenge run. That sounds like a punishment. I don't want anyone to Nuzlocke me anyway. Oh, and John would love going back through the cheat codes for them. I guess there's a bunch of different cheat codes for Pokemon.
Of cheat codes for Pokemon. I never played Pokemon, so it would be interesting to go back and do them. It would be a first time for me. It'll be a little bit trickier to do. We will have to do it at some point. Obviously, it's going to get done. It's going to be it is harder because I never played it. Yeah,
Pokemon is the most money making IP in the world.
Really, didn't know that.
Absolutely, yeah. That makes more money than Mickey Mouse. They make more money than Marvel characters. Pokemon,
good for them.
And just like you, I missed these on the initial.
That's my guy. I was a little bit too old. Yeah, I think we're both too old for it. Is the problem? But yeah.
Being that I was a young father, I got to experience my daughter playing through Pokemon games on her DS. And so I was tangentially around it, even though I wasn't playing it myself. I was hanging out while she played it. So I have some knowledge about it, but not a whole lot of personal experience. So it would be interesting to load one up and just be like, all right, let's see what this is for what it is. Okay. So Finn writes, what happened to reading all my comments? Oh, Finn, I'm so sorry. We are at the point now. You're getting so many comments that I have to cut them down. I got to give some other people a chance to get their words on the show. Otherwise, most of the show would be us reading comments. So sorry, but thank you. Please keep commenting. We will, like this one, we will highlight your comments in the future. Just be aware. It may not be everyone. Charles the Monkey on the Final Fantasy episode says, fellas, with the many mentions of D&D, what are y'all's go-to class and race? And then another piece, but do you have a go-to class and race that you prefer in Dungeons and Dragons?
I play old D&D, so it's a little bit trickier, but I actually, if I'm doing Dragonlance, I actually play Knights a lot. If I'm not playing Dragonlance, I'm lame. I just do fighters.
Yeah,
I like fighters.
You just go for sword and board or just hit everybody?
Sword and board. I'm sword and board. I'm lazy.
I enjoy playing as bard characters that try to talk my way out of situations because it oftentimes will throw the DM and it forces them to role play more. And I find that enjoyable as opposed to I'm just going to roll dice. One example is I played around with a game with a friend who I've known since high school. And so he knows me, and I played a bard. And every time he had to voice a character that was going to give us a quest, I would negotiate better rewards for the quest using my bard, rolling my dice. And the thing I would negotiate is if we complete the quest, then you have to give me your pants, the ones you're wearing right now. And then I would put them on and I would wear them. And then the next person, I'd take their pants and I would put them on. So I had a bard that was just collecting pants, and his characters had to walk around without pants. And it was hilarious to me. So there you go.
Yep, and that's why no one wants the bard. That's why
nobody wants the bard.
That's why no one wants the bard in the party. That is literally the story.
Tom to play D&D with them.
That's the story.
Charles also says, I'm with Tom on the cheating. It takes me out of the game every time. Yeah, this is interesting because we've established this before that I'm the one that goes in without any cheat codes and you're the one that's more likely to use them. But for me, it's not so much that it takes me out of the game. It's more like I will use cheats on other games just when I'm playing for fun. But for these games, I want personally to get that experience, and I want you guys to have both sides of the story.
Yeah.
So it's
it works out really well for us. 'Cause I think, especially for playing more of the challenging games, we want Tom to have the full rage quit experience of like,
I'm the one who suffers more.
I did. Tom and I both played for 2 hours, and Tom got through level 1.2. And I went, fine, full invincible. Where can I get? And I'm like, cool, I get to level 3. It's because I do find some of it's fun. As far as other stuff goes, I'll be candid. They're just sometimes I just want to turn my brain off after a long day of work and just win. There's days I want to win. And it's just
give me a win, please.
I just want to win after a long day, after a long week of work. Can I just sit here for an hour in pretend zone and win for a little bit? I know it's not real.
Right. Just give this to me. I need it.
I need this.
Yeah. I also find that I often will use them if I've already played a game to completion and know a lot about it. Doing something like playing GTA with the cheat codes on. And I'm just like, all right, let's find the boundaries of this thing. Like what craziness can I do? And when will the game crash or whatever? So that's part of the fun of that too. So thanks, Charles. This one is from Lopple, I think is how you pronounce your name. Final Fantasy. Love the cast. Would you ever considering doing a 2-part of the first Fallout game and a retro 40K game? Well, absolutely. That's been on our list for a while now.
I mean, the truth is, I think the first Fallout game may end up being a 2-part cast. It could easily end up being some of that in that part.
I mean, there's a lot there. There's a lot there.
There's a lot. Tom and I, we've been kicking the can on Fallout for a while because that's going to be one of the more challenging ones we do because it'll go long. It'll go real long.
It's also weird for me. Like John has a lot of experience with the game. I have a lot of experience with the lore and having researched the lore, but I missed playing that game when it came out.
Yeah.
And the only times I've ever gone back, I've always bounced off after a certain amount of time because of how old the game feels. And so most of my experience of the game is research and looking up playthroughs and looking up the lore and reading about it. So this is going to be funny because when we finally do play it, John's going to know exactly where to go and what to do in what order. And I'm going to be like,
we could record
I wandered around the desert and I died.
We could record that now. I'll do it from memory. I've got probably a couple hundred hours. Well, maybe not a couple hundred on long of the game, but I've got over 100 hours into the game. Easily.
Yeah. And there are time frames in Fallout where like if you don't do certain things by a certain point, the game will just end.
You just lose. That's why the game was awesome.
You just lose. Yeah. So I'm going to get caught in some of that stuff if I 100% go in without looking things up and also without trying to game it by using the things I already know. And I just play it as if I'm making a decision as I play through. It's going to be rough, but that'll be more entertaining, I think, for people to listen to. So yeah, definitely got those on the list. Damien from the Final Fantasy episode says, what about Space Hulk Vengeance of the Blood Angels? My personal introduction to 40K on PS1 and inspired a lifelong love of the universe. No Great Ultramarines present, John. Sorry.
Yeah. I love me some Ultramarines. They're fantastic. But Space Hulk's a fantastic game. Genuinely fantastic game. We will be covering it at some point. The Space Hulk's just good. It's just a really good 40K game. Full stop.
Yep. Classic stuff. Roger on Final Fantasy says, I said it before and we'll say it again live this cast. It really is a good nostalgia hit.
Love this cast.
Yeah. I think that was a typo. And cool theme you guys could do would be a car game that are racing games like GTA 1 and 2, Carmageddon, Twisted Metal, so forth. Yeah, so we just did Twisted Metal. Yeah. He mentions Carmageddon here. I meant to bring it up on that episode. I forgot to bring it up, but it reminded me a lot of Carmageddon. Do you ever play Carmageddon?
I didn't play Carmageddon. Racing games never appealed to me, though. So a lot of that stuff, when it came out, I wouldn't have played them. That's the problem.
Yeah, so Carmageddon, I don't remember if there was a racing component so much as it was, I think it was on PC. My best friend in high school loved it. You would drive around and run people over was the whole point, was to just kill as many pedestrians as you possibly could.
Oh, God. So this would be like, what, early 90s?
Yeah, it was
one of the, there was that era of early 90s
real
games
chunky
that were
just
super messed up. Yeah, those were
and then
fun.
It was real. Yeah, like I remember the red on the cover. It was like smeared across Carmageddon. It was trying to be all hardcore. Yeah, so those games all kind of have that, killing, shooting people while driving a car kind of thing going on. But yeah, you're going to hear our Twisted Metal episode previously, so you'll get some of that. And who knows, maybe we'll come back around to those games as well. Jack Quill writes, no way I found someone else who used to mispronounce Chaos the same way as me. When I talked about Chaos being the final boss in Final Fantasy and calling him Chose, only ever read it so when I used to say it, pronounced it like that. Yeah, and I bet people looked at you weird too. What? That's not a name.
That's funny.
Well, hey, I found somebody else in the world who did the same thing I did. This is a common thing when people read a lot, is that they won't learn to pronounce the words correctly because they haven't heard them.
I do a podcast on Warhammer. Do you realize it is a nightmare zone of like,
yeah.
All right, I'm about to say this word that I've only ever read. All of you have read it. Ta-da, here's how I think it goes. And
Right.
Here come the comments. Oh, cool, I got it wrong. Awesome, neat.
Yeah. I run into the same thing with the Lord of the Rings Lorecast because so many of those words Tolkien created himself. I mean, he wrote the languages for them. Yeah. And then later on publish stuff about like how to do certain pronunciations. And I'm not a language specialist. If I read through those, I still don't pronounce them correctly.
I just default to Latin half the time. And I go, all right, I'm going to pronounce this like it's in Latin. And people are like, that's wrong. I'm like, cool.
But that would make sense for 40K. So much of it is like Roman inspired.
Still get it wrong. The problem is I also have a Delco accent every now and then too, because that's where I grew up. So it gets a little ugly from time to time.
It gets a little weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And people get real stuck on this stuff too. And I'm like, all right, guys, like you understand what the word is. Can we move on? But that's just how that goes. Mateo on the Final Fantasy episode says, never been a huge Final Fantasy fan. The only one I've fully played and finished is Final Fantasy X. I mainly remember the airship part with the dragon. I grinded the hell out of the mobs on the airship so much until the dragon was a pushover. And so was the rest of the game. By the way, the Blitzball minigame was a whole game on itself. Yep. Absolutely. Yeah,
Blitzball was fun. Blitzball was fun.
It was cool.
It was a fun little game.
Cool.
Yep.
Yeah, that's something we didn't talk about too much was all the little side games that show up in the Final Fantasy games, the card games and Blitzball and stuff like that. We could do an entire episode on
card
weird
games, probably the best one. The problem is once you get into that, Gwent just wins every time.
You like Gwent? Triple Triad is like from file. What is it?
Triple Triad is 8, but Gwent just wins.
Which version? The version in The Witcher or the standalone Gwent
the Witcher
that
3.
You can play?
The one in Witcher 3. I just think people can argue with me, but it just does. Gwent is uniquely a good game.
Thanks for that one, Mateo. Brian says, bringing up all the guides being walls of text reminds me of having to scour GameFAQs pages, which were all text, no pictures, and you had to read them 80 times to know where to go.
Yep.
And you could still easily get lost as a kid trying to figure out RPGs. Yeah, that's where the Control F find word function came in real handy.
Yeah, no, because that's the thing. Sure, unless you went to the library to print it out. Mm-hmm. And so you're working off paper. And then you forget to staple it. And then...
they get all mixed up. Yeah. Thanks, Brian. Underfook.
Yeah,
we're going to keep going with that. Says, I'm going to lose it soon if you don't do Contra. Don't get me started on Contra 3. I think the creators laughed at us kids when they made the difficulty. I'll tell you what, Under, my brother and I played Contra 1 so much because it was one of the few games we owned early on with the NES. That we memorized every level. I could beat that game like blindfolded almost. Probably still. I'm sure we'll go back and play it and I will be humbled. But man, I knew that game forwards and backwards.
Contra's Contra. Yeah, Contra's a great game. We'll get to Contra at some point. It's most of us have played it. So yeah, Contra. I think we'll do like Contra with Metroid. It'd be fun to do stuff like that. Contra, Metroid.
Like side-scroller, combat-y kind of games. Yeah.
Maybe the Castlevania. It'd be kind of like a chunk like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that would make sense. Jason says, loving the old RPGs. It's crazy to see how the core of the genre really hasn't changed on 40 years.
Nope.
You mentioned Baldur's Gate and got me curious. What other modern games you guys currently play? I'm having a load of fun with Helldivers 2. Is there a modern game you've picked up recently?
No.
Just playing all the old stuff?
I'm really not. Sadly, no. Like the most modern stuff I'm playing is still probably a decade plus old.
Still old stuff. Yeah.
I like it.
So we talked about this recently. I've been playing Darktide. So it's funny. You're the Warhammer guy, but I've been playing 40K Darktide, which is great. Those
good game.
Tide games, Vermintide, Darktide, lots of fun. You can play with other people. You can just group up with other people. And they're basically you're wading through the filth of enemies and their viscera all over you while you destroy everything and get through a level. Super fun. So if you're enjoying Helldivers, similar kind of vibe. Maybe check it out. Our last question or our last comment is from David on the Final Fantasy episode. You are both great job on your podcast. Thank you for this one. It makes me feel young again. I don't get many chances to play games anymore. Hearing about them, it replays them in my head, which is oddly satisfying. Anyway, my first RPG was Lord of the Sword for Sega Master System. You remember this one? Because I wasn't
Yes.
a Sega guy, so I don't know that I remember this.
Yes. Wow. Wow.
David says, I'd love to hear about it from both of you. I've always been into things less popular. Maybe this lowly gem would captivate you and your audience.
Dude, Lord of the Sword. This is pre-Genesis.
Yeah, this is Master System. This is 8-bit Sega.
Old. Yeah, I do remember Lord of the Sword. Yeah, that's a cool game. Man, we've never done a Sega 8-bit game.
Have we not done a Master System? We may not have.
We've never done it.
Yeah, well, we did some games that had 8-bit versions, but that was because they came out mainly on the Genesis.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think we've done a single, like a just Master System game.
Yeah, there weren't a lot of them, candidly. There weren't a lot of them. The system didn't do that well. But
yeah, right. Well, hey, maybe we'll have to explore some of these.
We'll
Lord
do
of the Sword.
We'll add to a list. Yep.
Thanks, David. Thank you again for everybody and your recommendations and your comments. You guys are awesome, and the positivity keeps us going. So thank you so much for that. John, anything else before we wrap up this episode?
Next week, guys, we're flipping over to something new. And for all of our multiplayer first-person shooter fans, good news. We are doing a real deep dive into it. I think you're doing 6 weeks, Tom, into it, if I'm not mistaken.
6 or 7? We've got a whole list, a whole lineup.
List.
So this is, are we going to call it the road to Call of Duty or something like that?
Basically, yeah. In effect, that's what we're doing. We've decided to let all you young whippersnappers who play Call of Duty and Fortnite and whatever the hell else the kids are playing these days.
And, yeah.
Whatever the kids are doing these days, letting them know where it comes from.
Battlefield 6.
Yeah, we're letting you know your roots, and that's what we're doing. So we're going to go all the way back, and we're going to start off with Quake.
Yeah.
Quake. Yeah, the very beginning.
Yeah, so this is the plan, is we're starting with Quake, which was, Doom had multiplayer and you could make it work online, but Quake was kind of the one that made playing online with other people really possible in the shooter space.
Yeah.
And then we're going to follow the FPS games, as they evolve over the next several years into Call of Duty across multiple titles. So we're going to get a really cool glimpse of the way that these FPS games evolved over time. And this might be something a lot of people will be surprised to hear, but this was absolutely my thing back in the late 90s to early 2000s.
Yeah.
I was all about PC shooters. I was highly competitive in certain ones. And maybe not officially competitive, but I could hold my own.
We're going to be talking about some stuff here that's going to, I think, from a retro standpoint, I've mentioned a few of my friends, just when, spoiler jumping ahead a bit, when I brought up Counter-Strike, there's a lot of my friends who immediately went, "Oh God." And the "oh God" was a memory of how much time they put into that. And because that's the thing, you kids are great, but for those of us with gray hair, you don't understand. My gray hair started with that game.
Yeah. Yeah, those games were intense and they were competitive, and they're still competitive. People are still playing Counter-Strike. Yes, absolutely. So this is going to be a lot of fun. We're going to dig into that stuff, and we're timing it up so that we can get into that stuff, and then we will hit spooky stuff come October. Yeah. And so we've got a whole plan in place that we think you guys will all enjoy that. Thanks again for being here and supporting the show. And heck, we'll be back next week with Quake 1. Looking forward to it.
Take care.
See you then.
Recall.
Robots Radio. Games, lore, stories, community. Just press play.
Most people don't realize how much their personal information is being bought and sold every day. Data brokers are making billions, pulling details about you from public records and the internet, and then packaging and selling it, usually without your consent. That's how your information lands in the hands of scammers, spammers, even stalkers. It's why you get endless robocalls and why ads seem to follow you everywhere. That's where Aura comes in. Aura actively removes your data from broker sites and keeps it off. They also instantly alert you if your information shows up in a breach or on the dark web. But Aura goes beyond data protection. With one app, you get a VPN, antivirus, password manager, spam call protection, dark web monitoring, and even up to $5 million in identity theft insurance, all backed by 24/7 US-based fraud support. Other companies might sell just credit monitoring or just a VPN. Aura gives you all of it, together, at the same price competitors charge for just one service. Start your free trial today at aura.com/remove. Protect yourself now at aura.com/remove.